an important moment in Zimbabwean football? Are we, shall we say, hyping up something that really isn't there?
Yeah, I think it happened before. Remember the Edmond famous saga back in 2013, 2003.
Yeah, but Dynamos weren't stripped of a title there, though, were they?
Yeah, of course. I'm just putting that as an analogy. And where I want to go to is the fact that, that issue was handled just before the end of that season. And then this one is going to be something that will be a first thing to happen in local football. And we've just seen it happening to clubs like Juventus when it happened some time back. So we just wait to see how it's going to pan out tomorrow. And they also need to put explanations to some loopholes that people have been also questioning about the system in terms of transfers of players. How could a player move to a certain club without the parent club also authorizing it? And it's also the fact that Dynamos were also involved in that, and how everything just happened without Herentals also being clearing the player.
When it comes to you, I have it on good authority, though, that Herentals were actually offered compensation by either Juan Mutudza or FC Platinum or even both last year. But they actually refused it, and they eventually insisted on bringing everyone now before ZIFA. Do you support this move from Herentals to perhaps make an example of bigger clubs than themselves? Or maybe it should have been sorted out quietly and not bringing this game of Zimbabwean football into more disrepute than it is?
Well, they're trying to do it quietly, like you say. I think Herentals approached FC Platinum. So it's a story that they found the news in the newspaper. They read that Juan Mutudza is now being unveiled as an FC Platinum player. Last year in February, they engaged FC Platinum, and sometimes they were ignored. Sometimes there was a response that didn't really make sense to them. So it's weird because at this stage it's taken them a year to get here. I'm not really sure. I'll be surprised if you actually get a conclusive ruling before the season starts. I think this is one issue that, however way it plays out, either party, whichever party feels aggrieved after this, can always escalate this as far even up to FIFA level, So I don't really think we'll get a conclusion from this. The thing I'm leaning to, I think the clubs may find each other, and there may be some sort of settlement. You're talking about compensation. It was unfair to Herentals because in his last year of his contract, Juan Mutudza, there is a clause that says he can move to another team, but Herentals have to negotiate with that team and get 40% of the new sign-on fees he gets there. But Herentals are supposed to negotiate, not the player.
Yeah.
So what the player did, he decided to go away, goes to Shavane, and then months later comes back with an amount of money and says, this is compensation. Remember that 40%? Take your 40%. And they're saying 40% of what? We never negotiated the fee that you're supposed to get there, So it wasn't compensation. It was, I don't know, some backhanded amount of money that the player just, got from his new club, So this was unfair to them. And they're saying the integrity of football has to be maintained here. So I think they really do have a case because it's a very weird situation. Now, the FIFA Connect system, they say you can manipulate it, but then something's wrong with it, maybe because Herentals should have gotten some form of notification from it. They did not. They've got a valid contract, but then the player is cleared to play. And while he's playing during the season, there's a dispute. Everyone knows about it. Comes back, but then afterwards goes back to Zishavan and continues to play. So I genuinely don't understand the situation right now. So I don't think we'll get a conclusive result from this one. I think eventually the clubs are going to find each other and maybe some sort of out of hearing settlement will be done.
So that Ash has already put his foot forward, saying he doesn't expect this to be resolved now. Simba, in your view, do we see FC Platinum getting severely punished here? Because as you alluded to, Edmond Mhene actually ended up costing Dynamos 3 points when he played in one game. Juan Mutudza played in about 15, 16 games last season. So if you follow the same extrapolation in terms of that, Platinum are due for a 48-point deduction here. Do you expect that to happen? Ash said that won't happen.
If they follow the rules, if there's no manipulation of everything that would have happened, they are supposed to be deducted over points. But again, you can't rule out manipulation in terms of if people can manipulate a system, what else in terms of a judgment? Because like what I alluded to yesterday, that there's still also a case of Tier 1 also complaining, and we are getting into the beginning of the season, and without their case being heard. So you have such situations that ZIFA also should have done this quite some time back, and not allow us to keep guessing that the more they take, the more they'll be trying to deny justice to the clubs, especially the so-called small clubs.
We'll certainly be hearing what the Player Status Committee says after tomorrow's hearing. As Ash has said, it probably will not be the end of the story. Talking about another party in that entire saga, Dynamos have now made the unusual move in Zimbabwean football to appoint a data analyst to assist the technical staff and players to deliver results on the pitch this season. So Desmond Mhene is his name, and he has a connection to Dimbare, as he was part of Kalisto Pasua's backroom team during that famous 4-title winning stint in the first half of the last decade. Dynamo CEO Jonathan Mashingaidze told me that the Glamour Boys are embracing modern football training methods and trends to return to the top of the game in Zimbabwe. He also said the club is looking to equip Mhene with high-tech drones and cameras to enable him to carry out this mandate. Here is Mashingaidze speaking now on the data points and categories that Mhene will be looking over, as well as how the club has a partnership in place to maximize on this data analysis.
Data collection will relate to things like the velocity in respect of the sprints that the players will be subjected to. It also relates to the recovery rates, the basic technical skills or the basic technical abilities of a player. And then in terms of his space, you would have then obviously to collect that data relating to the various departments that you find in a team, from defense, from midfield, up to the strike force. And then the same thing also going for the goalkeeping area. So that information will then be handy when the head coach looks at the deployment of the playing material. We saw it fit to partner with entities that have resources that we could lay our hands on. And there's one entity that's based in the United Kingdom that they're unveiling this year. That entity has got the equipment, tracking accessories, models or trends in terms of data collection, analysis, and processing. So these are things that we feel if Dynamos wants to be back in the Africa Safari, we just have to embrace the modern way of managing podium excellence.
So that was a Dynamo CEO there, Jonathan Mashingaidze, speaking to me earlier this afternoon. Ash, something to be excited about for supposed increased professionalism in Zimbabwean football, or should we not be applauding a club for finally keeping up with modern trends?
It's nice. It's nice for Dynamos. I don't know if what stage they are at, because we've had I don't know if the title is the correct one. Data analyst. We've had people who capture data, right, at football matches. I guess I think goalkeepers coaches do that for their own goalkeepers. There was one popular one at Ngezi Platinum. What was his name? It was very popular, very outspoken. Calvin Mavunga. I think he did that as well during that time. And it's enhanced the league up until a point. You know, when a team starts losing, then enemy number one becomes the data analyst sometimes. You know, then you say, I heard years ago there was a coach who was fired after stats about 35 crosses in a match, and they lost, I think, by 2-0 or something, and shots at goal and what have you. And then, you know, the bosses will look at it and say, okay, so 35 crosses and no goal. What is the coach doing? What's happening here? We need to fire him and find someone else. So it's nice when you work together and it brings out the things that you can actually improve the team, and then sometimes they can magnify the problems, and people then choose to, I guess, focus on the problems, you know. So I'm not really sure if we are ready for that, or if we do have the maturity for it as well, because it will expose some things that, you know, at times, sometimes you then say, okay, maybe it's the coach, maybe it's the players. Are you going to improve their diet as well? Maybe, let's say, if a player is not going, Hansi velocity, I had velocity somewhere in there, and I'm thinking,
velocity
okay,
of the sprints
if I'm going to sprint for the first 30 minutes, after an hour I'm tired here, maybe I'm not sprinting anymore, maybe I'm walking if I'm a player, and then I also going to improve my diet, my conditioning. That also feeds feeds into it as well. So yeah, there are a lot of things that are involved when it comes to data capturing, data analysis, and actually improving the overall performance of the team. So it's nice if you want to write a report and say this is what we've done for the year, but I think stick to the basics, get those, master those, and then maybe one day you can be excited about these new technologies. But we're not there yet, and certainly Dynamos, I don't think this will do more harm than good for me at that team.
Simba, you heard what Ash said there. Dynamos looking for an advantage over the other 17 Premier Soccer League clubs. Do we have, or does Dynamos especially have the ability to use this information to then find that advantage, or is just collecting data for the sake of it? Because let's be honest, our levels of professionalism are nowhere near English Premier League or Serie A levels.
Maybe I'll just say to Ash, I don't think it will do much harm to Dynamos.
Why not?
If you know Daisy is very much competent.
Desmond
He deliver
Mhene.
results.
He delivers
Desmond Mhene.
results.
Yes.
Where?
Before Dynamos.
How?
I won't elaborate, but I'll
You
just
don't
say-
want to tell me how, but he
No, but just
delivers.
elaborate on the
he's
data,
just
the
somebody who
data
can bring
analyst part.
results.
The
That is
data
what you have to
analyst part.
understand. Yeah.
So you're actually expecting Dynamos to get some kind of benefit from this arrangement, especially that one with the UK company, which as well as bringing in drones and cameras. Do you
He's
actually
a
feel
son.
that's feasible?
Desmond Mhene is a son.
Okay.
And it's good to have sons in the house.
no,
You
but
understand?
how
When
many
you have
sons
one
do they have,
family, yeah, they've many since 1963.
Yeah, exactly.
Many sons. You understand?
And they're on a
anyone
9-year
who
drought
comes in-
now.
Anyone who comes in can give some input, can actually uplift the dressing room. Comes in, he's a role model of sorts. He probably was involved in that title winning, so he comes in with knowledge, and they say, this is a guy who knows all about winning the title. Let's learn from him. Let's take what we can from him, absorb all the information. So it's good for data capturing. Yeah, there's something there I'm just not comfortable with.
There's a lot of skepticism in the studio.
No,
Do
it's
come
not
through.
skepticism,
It
but
is
just
skepticism.
readers, not coming, and if you can read this, you can read between the lines. You've already read what it means, but it's something that is also needed within a club. That you need somebody who is going to capture data on and off the field of play.
Not just capturing though, they have to analyze it and then hopefully get whatever they need out of the analysis to improve the team's performance. Data capturing, everyone's doing that, but the analysis now, making sure that, as Ash said, when you're talking about a player who's now tired, how do you improve his conditioning, how do you improve his diet and all of that? That's all
But
going to
yeah,
come
it's
into it.
something that
Are we
was-
on that level?
Yeah, it's something that we should have been doing a few seasons ago. It's something that most of our clubs should have been doing, because if you look, we have been lagging behind, and sports is not scientific, and these are the things that you need to employ. And it might sound audacious for Dynamos to say that we are bringing in drones, but you're supposed to be owning those things if you really want to improve your football. Look at down in South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns, saying that for us it's no longer just about competing in their PSO, but they are looking at the bigger picture, that they want to win as many African titles as possible and play at the FIFA Club World Cup, not just competing in the local league. So this is something that Dynamos should be looking at.
Your WhatsApp messages on this issue, and that data thing is not for Africa. Dynamos is wasting money giving it to that guy, so you do not expect anything to come out of it. But here we have a positive one. Well done, Dimbare. That's the way to go. Another one here. Good move from Dynamos. What's important is to start from somewhere. So you're pretty much very positive about that. Then, guys, you should applaud Dynamos for employing a data analyst. If it were FC Platinum or Allow Your Chiefs, you would go to town. Could these teams are a professional?
No, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't. The team I was talking about actually was Ngezi Platinum Stars, and it didn't work. For all it was worth, it became just something on WhatsApp to trend, but it didn't really help the team in any way, if you ask me.
Last one for now, guys. Personally, I'm happy with the intention. Dynamos' intention is good. Zvakawana, Gadzira, as time moves on, we didn't have such zeal in our league. Keep the messages coming through. We are now going international on the Daily Sports Zone.
This is World Sport on the Daily Sports Zone.
tonight we see the rare occasion of a Europa League knockout round tie that would not be out of place in a Champions League final. Barcelona welcome Manchester United to the Nou Camp in a repeat of the 2009 and 2011 Champions League finals when the great Barca sides of that era defeated United. So now both sides find themselves in the second tier competition after some rough years. At the same time, though, they seem to be getting back to their very best selves. Barca on a 16-match unbeaten run in all competitions, 5 points clear at the top of Spain's La Liga. United have also lost just once in 15 games since the World Cup. They are 5 points off the lead in the Premier League. Ash, a true clash of European royalty. Both sides, as I said, in great shape and form. How are you viewing tonight's game?
Yeah, I mean, we used to have Champions League finals between these two teams. Hey, that was way back when. Our time has sorted these teams out now. Hey, Europa League now. You know, it's going to be fun. It's entertaining. I think after already, I think on TV we were watching the rerun of the Arsenal-Man City game. I think we might just get entertainment of that level today. I think United, that they should be brave. Go out at the Nou Camp and play their football the way that they've been playing in Barcelona. Should be fun to watch. So, it's entertaining for this. I think this competition needs great clashes like that for people to become interested. I was joking, and I saw Borussia Dortmund yesterday. They were actually saying, welcome to all the fans who've come to watch now after the Arsenal-Man City game was over. We've just scored, because they knew where the audience was, So a tournament like this, the Europa League, it needs such clashes to get the audience in. So it's going to be fun. I think it's good for them, but hey, for both teams, not the ideal competition for them.
Thank you for putting up that last sentence there. For you, Simba, I wanted to ask, does the other side rather need to win the Europa League? Considering they're actually quite comfortable in the leagues in terms of finishing in the top four, they will be able to qualify for the Champions League next season. Do you feel they actually need to win this competition? Maybe to just say that they're back in trophy winning form?
Yeah, definitely, Rukudzo. Remember when even Jose Mourinho won the the Europa Conference League with Roma, he was actually celebrating, and what you just need to do is to put something into your trophy cabinet, and for the Roma fans, they celebrated the same thing that is going to happen with Barcelona fans or Man United fans. At times, you just need that, because reality is that they were not good enough for the Champions League. But again, at the end of the day, you need something that will give confidence to your players and also give some credence to the club. So it's still something that they would fight to win at all costs.
Your prediction for tonight, Simba?
I think it's a Barcelona win.
What, by a single goal? Because it's just the first leg, so obviously to determine what happens next week at Old Trafford.
I think it's going to be an open game that Barcelona are going to win, maybe 2-1 or 3-1.
I want to be entertained. I'll say 3-3. Yeah, 3-3, 2 red cards. That would be nice.
I think Barcelona are a bit too defensively strong for them to concede 3 goals at the Nou Camp anyway. Manchester United, though, we'll see how they manage on the road. Then, of course, some messages have been coming through. People are saying that I'm ignoring last night's big result. I am not. I was going to finish up with it. Of course, talking about Manchester City beating Arsenal by 3-1 at the Emirates Stadium to go top of the table, albeit having played a game more. City leading on a goal difference. Ash, for you, was this a decisive blow in the title race psychologically? You still got about 15 or 16 games to go, but is this a big, shall we say, move for Man City to beat their title rivals on their own patch?
No, I think there's still a long way to go. I think for Arsenal, I love their fans and the attitude that they had after the game. I didn't see many leaving immediately after the final whistle. They actually applauded their team. Some were chanting Arsenal, Arsenal, because they really believe that there's character about this team. There's some substance. There's depth, I think, about this side as well. Okay, depth not in terms of personnel, but depth in terms of character of the team. So I like it. I don't think Man City can go on those runs they did years ago. This Man City is just so unpredictable. I think they will still drop points. I think they still will lose matches. When we get Champions League, when they get into the later stages of the FA Cup, then it will be such a taxing time for them, and they may just drop points in the league. So there's still a lot to play for. I think Arsenal, Aston Villa, lunchtime against a former coach Unai Emery. Ask me after Saturday which Arsenal, if the right Arsenal turns up and wins that lunchtime game there in the UK, then I definitely will be confident they can take the league. If they win that game convincingly, I'll say Arsenal takes the league on later on in the season. If they win the game on Saturday and show character, I think Arsenal should be fine.
But Simba also have been looking a bit uncertain now. Even last night in the second half in particular, they were looking really uncomfortable with the ball at the back in particular. I think City's pressing was really giving them such a torrid time. But even Everton have made things difficult for them. Brentford did the same. Where has it gone wrong for Arsenal? They were looking flawless before this last four match run of theirs, which has been rather poor.
Yeah, it seems that they have been running out of steam. I think that you need players with character, players that are going to rise to the occasion, especially when you are up against a team that you are also in contention for the title against, because this is a game that they ought not to lose, because once you lose, you cede points to your opponents. And I think also you need players that rise to the occasion. You saw with Man City, even when Haaland was not scoring the previous games, but the fact that he managed to put his name on the score sheet, and De Bruyne also getting the opener for them, it shows that there are players that you expect to carry the team, and they rise to the occasion on that particular day. And this is not happening at Arsenal. You need players that will give you something.
Brilliant there. Thank you very much, gentlemen. A big thanks to Simba Chiminya and Ash Tikiwa for joining me on today's edition of the Daily Sports Zone. I have to head out of the studio, but some messages before I do. Evening, guys. Just hope for the best for United. Going to be very difficult at the Camp Nou. You say this is son of the soil in Zimbabwe Park. Then Anzi, hi guys. I don't have a lot to say, but Pana Arsenal, Pana Jiruk Zirkanwa. Glory United. I'm Rufaro Kamanura from Chitungwiza Unit G. Here we are. The data collection is important because it gives the insight they need to focus on the problem areas. So you're pretty much very enthusiastic about Dynamos' move. And then here on the high sports team, my prediction is United 2, Barcelona 1, and Didindadaro is Tafadzwa Pa Galloway there. Then the high sports team, Arsenal, Jayato Dakwa. And the ET is always right when he was talking about a lack of attracting big names this season. Senior Finetti in Chisipiti there. And then final one here, and the Simba homeboy and Arsenal yangu yasheka Wesley in Gweru there. Simba, you have a big fan coming from the city of progress. After me, we have the After Drive presented to you by Boom Baby. Today she'll be in the studio. But your closing headlines for this evening's edition. The Juan Mutudza saga is set to come to a head tomorrow with the official hearing before the ZIFA Player Status Committee. Dynamos have appointed a data analyst to assist the Herbert Maruwa-led staff this season. His name is Desmond Mhene. And the Europa League takes center stage. We have a blockbuster in the playoff round. Barcelona playing Manchester United at the Nou Camp in the first leg of their mouth-watering tie. We'll be back again tomorrow evening, 6:05 down to 6:30 for the Daily Sports Zone here on Star FM, your first choice for sport.
Hey family, this your boy Travis Green, and you are tuned into the greatest station in the nation. You know what it is, Star FM.
Listen to John Masauro.